We have a really nice meal, and everything's cool, and have a lot of fun. And then we go back to the office. And usually people, when they come back to your office, they go back inside with you, right? Have a little chat, shake hands, give you a hug, and they go, right? That's typical protocol. We'd walk in and say, okay, Pick, gotta go see you. At least. I would go back into my office, and he would go in after we, he says, you go out to the car, I'll meet you. He'd go back into my office, and he would take all the pictures and crank it. A little bit crooked. And I would go in there, and it was like Rain Man. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. No. Cruel. Cruel. You don't do that to people that have OCD. What's wrong with you? So one of my strengths is OCD. And it is a strength, really. I enjoy it. I love it. I like organization. I like structure. I'm a measured maniac. And, it was, I think it was in my DNA. My dad was that way. When I was a little boy, he taught me that everything has a home. Right? He goes, Jim, you have a bedroom in this house, don't you? And I go, yeah, I sleep with 3 brothers. We need to talk about that, Dad. Right? I have a bedroom. He goes, yeah, you have a bedroom. You have a place where you keep your shirts, your jeans, your tennis shoes, And he explained to me that everything has a home. You would go to my father's toolbox, and you would open a drawer, and all the Phillips screwdrivers are on one side, all the straight screwdrivers on the other. They would be number ones all the way through. They're completely organized. The handles were reversed. So if I wanted to borrow a screwdriver, I'd say, Dad, can I borrow your Phillips screwdriver? He goes, which one? I said, oh, just a medium size one. Yeah, drawer 2, right side, number 3. Seriously. So I adopted that philosophy. Ask me how many times I've lost my keys or my sunglasses.
0?
0.
Oh, wow.
Now that's a strength. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It's a strength. So while you're utilizing, while you're doing your SWOT analysis, look for things that you're good at. Look for things that you are strong in. These are also things and traits that you may have that you're willing to help other people with. For example, there's people in our organization that are not OCD. I am more than happy to help them with that. Right? It might be a weakness. Am I doing them a favor by assisting them sometimes where they don't have those particular traits and I can assist them? Absolutely. So as you build a team, as your individual, because you always start as a entrepreneur, and then you go to be a solopreneur, it's just you. And then eventually, over time, you become an entrepreneur because then you start bringing in other people, right? Other people start coming into your realm. Other people start participating in your business activities. So you go from a entrepreneur, gosh, I really want to do that. It really sounds like fun. I don't know if I can do this, but I want to do this. I'm an entrepreneur. Right? And then we take the first leap. That first leap of faith. Right? Now we're a solopreneur. Good, bad, or different, baby. We're in business. We're going to do something together. Okay? We make that first $1. Oh my gosh. It's real. I can do this. And over time, we start building a little bit of momentum, and we start getting some sales, and things start going. And next thing you know, we become an entrepreneur because we have vendors and we have people that work with us, whether they're outsourced or whether they're employees or team members. All of a sudden, we're an entrepreneur. So as you move to that entrepreneur position, you are going to utilize your SWOT analysis, emphasizing your strengths, delegating out your weaknesses. Does that make sense, you guys? Yeah. Does that make sense? So strengths. What's next? Weaknesses. We don't like talking about our weaknesses. It's a tough thing to do. When you're in this exercise, I highly encourage you to turn off the cell phone. Shut off the computer. Sit in a place that is peaceful and quiet. You're not getting interruptions by the kids, or maybe another telephone, or maybe somebody coming into your space in your office, whatever. Don't go to a popular place you usually go and sit in the corner because somebody can come in and interrupt you. I highly encourage you to find an isolated place that you can sit down and it's just you. Get into contemplation. Friends, I'm telling you, if you do this exercise, it'll make all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. Weaknesses. Wow. That's a tough one. And you know what? I told you I was going to share everything with you. One of my weaknesses, I don't recommend. I don't recommend. You know, oftentimes I'll say, yeah, I can do this, I can do that, oftentimes by Friday or Thursday, whatever. And because I love people, and one of my favorite things in the world to do is mentor and help people, my schedule doesn't become my schedule. So I'll plan 4 or 6 hours a day of my time, just my time, and I'll leave the other part to allow for interruptions in my day and to be able to be there to assist people. See, I have a philosophy about work. Work ethic is another one of those strengths. Got that from my father. Man was a hard worker. I believe you can have success in this world, working half a day. I don't care which 12 hours a day. I don't know, guys. If you're an entrepreneur, I read before I work with you on that crap. Sure. Yeah, let's do that. I know billionaires, multi-millionaires, my mentors are hugely successful. You know what? They work. Here's the difference. Work is not a form of work. They have passion for what they do. They love what they do. They don't know the difference between work and play. They'd rather do that and be creative and taking the things that come out of their mind, you, and they create these things, and all of a sudden they become things. Matter of fact, everything in here, the stage, the screen behind me, the lights, the entire hotel started in the mind's eye of man. Somebody had a thought and said, gee, I want to create a 90-foot screen. Before it existed. And the next thing you know, an engineer was sitting down and he had a CAD system and he was designing something and went to a production facility that chose the fabric, did the seating and the sewing, and created a 90-foot screen. But it didn't exist until it started right here. Everything. From what you're wearing, to the seat you're sitting on, to the table you're resting your elbows on, to the pedal you run with you today. Started in my life. So as we are talking about weaknesses, and as we're thinking about the things we don't do well, we have to remember those are the items as we become an entrepreneur, we're going to delegate away. At first, as a solopreneur, hey, we got to deal with it. The only way to deal with it is identify. The only way to deal with it is to get in that space and to list those things and to put them on paper from mind to the piece of paper that become tangible, they become real. Once they're there, we know what they are and we anticipate that we're going to have to deal with them. As part of our plan, we're going to move to entrepreneurs as fast as we can so that we can delegate them away. That's the good part. That's what feels good. Now, how do I delegate away overcommitment? Let's use that as an example. So I like to go out and spend time with other people. It's one of the things I love to do. It as you become more successful, have more fun. You know, you get to do the things you like to do more often. So one of the ways that I delegate away the fact that I overcommit is I scale up. I scale up. So as my day goes on, and as the things that I find distracting me away from the commitments that I've made and becoming the most efficient and effective person I can be, as I see those things coming at me, with delegation, I'm able to say, you know what? Mick will handle that, or Jack will handle that, or Pat, or Peter. I don't have to, but allow me to help you. So I still feel good because I'm taking away from my schedule enough to at least assign somebody else to do it and help that person. So I'm taking my weakness and I'm turning it into something that doesn't interrupt my business and doesn't hurt my business. Does that make sense, guys? Yes. Again, you know, I mean, entrepreneurs, how many of you guys are excited about being entrepreneurs? As an entrepreneur, you're going to have the privilege to work 100 hours a week so you don't have to work 40. I'm not so excited. True. Weaknesses. Sorry, I'm a little punchy, but I don't know why. I had plenty of sleep last night. Opportunities. SWOT, SWOT. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We all have opportunities. As you sit in that space and as you listen, I want you to list the opportunities as they relate to your business. That's critical. Write that down. You want to list the opportunities that relate to your specific business. We all have multiple opportunities. For one, I have a beautiful daughter, 16 years old, love her to death. Out of my eyes, she's got me right. And I have the opportunity all the time to interact with other parents of people, kids her age. So she's got friends and her buddies and parents, and I get to hang out with them, and that's an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to meet people. It's an opportunity to get involved with other folks. It's an opportunity to expand your sphere of influence. It's an opportunity to build relationships. It's a huge opportunity, right? And happens to be a great place where we live. There's a lot of different various types of personalities and professions and all kinds of different interests and things that they do. So it's cool, right? You get to sit down with people and you get to talk to them about their special interests and what they're doing and the fun they have and how they parent. And it's amazing. I love going to events where my daughter has her friends and the other parents are there. What's it got to do with it? Maybe a little bit. Maybe I'll meet a relationship and we can work together. I can help them. They might help us. A little bit. And it's a huge opportunity, would you agree? Right. It's a great opportunity. Well, what does it have to do with my business? So when you're sitting in that place and you're listing opportunities, make sure they apply to your business. And again, I'll show you one of mine. One of my opportunities has been over the last 25 years to know a lot of people, have a lot of relationships. I'm very blessed. One of the things I did a decade ago was we started a CC exactly before the crash. I felt guilty about making money. We saw significant success. And all of a sudden, something just wasn't quite right. And I was sitting down and talking to one of my mentors. And he said, Pick, I'll tell you what you got to do. You got to go and you got to give that money away. You got to give it away. Now, I was raised around that. My mom was a big function of the Red Cross. We called her an aqua woman. She used to go out and teach swimming lessons, and she drug us all along. We were always doing swimming lessons. My dad was very philanthropic, and he helped in the finance board to build a library in our little town in Nebraska. And I was around this all the time, and I was exposed to it. But in those days, I'm not so sure they had the personal development element that we have, the technology that we have with respect to personal development. And I know that they knew what to do, but they didn't really know how to transfer that knowledge to the kids so much. God bless them. My parents, God rest their soul, wonderful, amazing people. But, to their detriment, they didn't have that Tony Robbins, to teach us how to transfer that knowledge and focus on that knowledge. It wasn't an industry of personal development. Now there is, but there's no excuse. That's what my mentor says. Hey, here's what you got to do. Give that money away. Go give it away. I don't care where you give it away. Go find it to cause. You need somebody to do something. Go give it away. So I did it. I had a friend that was working with a children's charity that focused on kids with terminal illness. It's called the Starlight Foundation. I said, you know, I love kids. I feel very fortunate that mine as well. Okay, let's do it. So this friend of mine took me to the hospital, to the terminal pediatric ward. All of a sudden, giving that money became very important. Saw those kids laying in bed, probably won't be wake up in the morning. I saw the need they had. And we came up with this thing called a fun center. Back then it was the Wii, the game. And we said, okay, let's build a room where they can go and they can play and they can have their fun. Let's make the rest of their life the best of their life. I got passionate about it. I mean, I'm all on or all off, and baby, I was all on. I mean, I saw the need, I felt the passion, and all of a sudden it wasn't so much about the selfish Jim feeling better, giving the money away. All of a sudden it was, oh my gosh, these kids will need this help and it's going to make a big difference. And then we figured out, hey, they can't come to the room. We built the room and we go in there and there'd be one or two kids that that could, and they'd be walking with their little IV poles and stuff, and a couple of them, but most of them were bedridden. So we designed this thing that would go up against the bed with more underneath, kind of like the tray they feed you on. And we designed it and retrofitted it for these Wii's, and they would go to the bed, right to the kids' bedside. And all of a sudden, the frowns turned upside down. And the kids would go, okay. One little boy, Billy, his name was Billy, had no jaw, had bone cancer, jaw. Big disco smile. All of a sudden, I saw it was right there. I was absolutely addicted. Because all of a sudden I realized how fortunate I was to have a child in this house. Oh my gosh. It was real. It was in my face. I could see it. So I made a very bold move. I decided I was going to take my daughter to the terminal pediatric ward. Bold move. 6 years old at the time. Not so sure how she was going to react. So we put together a little gathering. I invited my brother and my sister and her 4 boys, and everybody came. Everybody came out to participate in the fun center. And my daughter. Went through it. Took her all through, introduced her to some of the kids, and all of a sudden I noticed that she was having fun. And she would sit there at the bedside with some of the kids and she'd play the games with them. The one thing about kids, what you see is what you get. They don't hide it. Their emotions are pure, transparent, and real. And I saw some men having fun. I thought, oh, thank God. Because, the fear I had was, oh my gosh, she's going to be freaked out. She's going to be scared. She's not going to, she's going, Daddy, take me. I want to go. But she embraced it. We got in the car on the way leaving the hospital. Turned around, looked at her in the car, and I said, hey, listen, what'd you think? She goes, Daddy, I want to go back. When can we go back? It made a difference. So as we talk about opportunities, one of the things that I would highly recommend and challenge you to do, regardless of how much you have in resources, maybe it's not Maybe it's not your money because you're not good at that. I get that. You can't help a man out of a ditch if you're standing there. But there's one thing we all have in equal amounts, and that's time. Find a charity. Give them your time or your money. Find something that makes you passionate, that you're passionate about. Find something that makes you smile. And go do it. Because not only will you be doing a difference for somebody else, you'll be making a difference for yourself. And here's what I found. As we talk about our family, I thought at that time I had built quite an impressive Rolodex. For those of you who didn't know what the Rolodex is. I should rephrase that. I had built quite a database. Thought, yeah, I tell you what, you meet the coolest people with shared work. Really, 10 years ago, I thought it was all that in a bag of chips. Man, I have met some of the most amazing people doing charity work. Cool people. People that care. Smart people. Successful, not smart. All types of people, all walks of life, all creeds, all colors, everything you can imagine. And today, this day, they're some of my best friends. And you know what, folks? I went through a terrible financial disaster. I crashed so hard. When that bubble burst in the real estate market, I fell so far I don't really know what life. Guess who were the friends that were still there when I had nothing? People that I met who didn't share with us. Because guess what? All of a sudden, I was in charity. It makes a difference. So as you take a look at the things that you consider opportunities, dig deep. Think hard. Focus. The opportunities that may help you the most in business may be things that you've never considered ever in your life before. Threats. Strengths, opportunity, or strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Again, it's something that relates to your business. In addition to that, we have threats that affect us personally. Things that hold us back. These are tough sometimes too. These are things that maybe were created because of a former relationship. These could be the simple things, the things you're probably thinking of right now, like, well, you know, I don't have a lot of available capital. Kind of the opposite of opportunity. But when it comes to threats, I want you to consider the things that might stop you when you have momentum. What do those look like? What are your threats? I have a big one. A big one. One of the things that's the biggest threat for me right now is because of the great success, because of the wonderful things that I had, the blessings that were put upon me. And as I had all the momentum and all the success and all the great things going on, we built a number of companies, a lot of companies. I allowed those people to run companies. I got involved in a lot of businesses. And the one thing that you realize as you're doing business, you realize that there's all kinds of opportunities and you try to sort through those opportunities. And every once in a while you come across an opportunity that sounds too good to be true. Well, the mistake I made was it was too good to be true and I didn't stop. It didn't feel 100% right. And I did it anyway. And we got in trouble. It was a real estate transaction I funded called the 5-Star Capital Markets. It was actually a person that I knew well, that had a license and securities and experience, and it was wonderful. And he knew a developer that had all the success. And we did all the right things. We went out there and we vetted the people that had invested before. We went to 2 different attorneys and said, is this right? Is this legal? Can we do this? And all the documents, we had crossed every T, every I, put the whole thing in place right at the height of the market, and the market crashed. And a bunch of good people lost money, including myself. The commitment I made to the business is I will fund the startup, I'll write the check, but I'm going to maintain control. That was our protocol as we were venture capitalists. We started business, we liked the business, we funded it. But I kept control until my money was paid back, and then we allowed them to do an LBO, leverage buyout, and buy us down to an minority position. It was a great model. That talking about one of the we did that. Every T was crossed, every I was dotted, the market crashed. I lost a ton of money because I matched every dollar for dollar of investment, of outside capital, I matched. And I'll be honest, it was because I was there for the opportunity, and I saw it as being a great way to leverage some money to make some good passive income. So the decisions we made at the time were good. Well, what happened in 2000? Houses stopped selling, right? The market crashed, values went down. If you go Google Case-Shilling Index, you'll see it went like this, and all of a sudden, whoops, like a cliff. And all of those developments were taken back to the bank because nobody would buy the homes. The whole thing was locked down. Took my mom to one home. 3 years later, I get a call by the Arizona Corporation Commission saying, I want to talk to you. Can you come on down? I said, sure. Why not? Went down and sat there with him and said, you know, that 5-Star Capital Market thing you did, we have a little bit of a challenge. It's an unregistered security. I said, no. No, here's my attorney letter saying it's not, and we have, you know, it's a real estate investment, and everybody has a second trustee, and, you know, we're doing it. And we saw 2 different things. Here's the information. She said, yeah. What then if your partners were to file the trustees? Bam. You want to talk about threats? So, I looked at my counsel and said, what do we do now? He goes, well, Jim, because you weren't an active part of the business. You didn't sign any of the checks. You never even stepped foot in the building. You didn't talk to any of the investors. I think you're going to be fine. I said, well, let's see what we can do. So we went through the process. And in this wonderful state of Arizona, there's a particular statute called strict liability. If you're the CEO, president, and majority shareholder, ignorance is not an excuse. So, I ended up having to negotiate a settlement agreement where I did not have to admit guilt or deny it. I signed a over $5 million agreement, judgment against it. Am I proud of it? Not at all. And I'll see you this thing. It's all because I lost it, but because I had the gut feeling it was too good to be true. And guess what? It ended up being too good to be true. Huge threat. I deal with it every week. Doing my best to get through it. I know who I am. I'm surrounded by amazing people. Tremendous support. But it's tough. I was actually sitting with one of my mentors about 3 years ago. Really had a hard time. Really challenged by whether or not I ever wanted to do anything ever again. Whether I would just stay a consultant and do my thing. Not ever really focused on building a big business again. They said, dude, come on. God put you on this planet because you have more talent in your little finger than most people are ever blessed with in their entire life. You get knocked down, you measure the demands, you're going to get up. You're going to get your ass off the carpet. You're going to lay down and cry like a little baby. You're tougher than this. You got to get back there and fight, kid. You might be bloody and beat up and black eyes, but you got to get back there. You can still do it. So he did. He taught me to get back out there and do it. Do you want to talk about flex? I just shared with you the biggest one of my entire life. Big money, big problems. And what's the lesson you can learn from my mistakes? If the deal seems too good to be true, probably is. Just because you have momentum and success doesn't mean it has to be leveraged. It wasn't about the people. The people that got caught up in that, the guy that I invested in, the gentleman I did business with us is one of my best instructors. And he was fantastic. Wonderful guy. The developer, man. That's not but if it feels too good to be true, it probably is. Learn from my mistake. I hope you guys never have to go through anything like that. But that's why this little exercise, especially the threats, is so important. Now, what lesson did I learn? What lesson did I learn? I did my due diligence. I sought legal counsel. I made sure my attorney did the contract. I made sure that the proper operational protocols were in place. I did everything right, I thought. The devil's in the details. Devil is in the details. Never again in my life will I allow the operational protocol of a company that I have anything to do fall short of full due diligence. Never again in my life, God rest my soul if I do, will I ever allow that to happen again. So what are your threats? And how is it that you can make a difference in your life and learn from the mistakes of others? Heavy stuff, gotta shake it off. Thank you for allowing me to share that. Okay. How about some cool stuff?